After getting demolished by the Thunder, the Warriors stayed in Texas to face the surging Spurs on the second night of a back-to-back with vengeance. Steph Curry turned back the clock and dropped 46 points, including 22 in the third quarter, finally announcing a real comeback from the illness that had him out for the past week. I want to break down his all-around performance, both on ball and off ball, so let's get to it. The Warriors' motion offense prioritizes advantages off of Curry's shooting gravity, this we all know. With Draymond Green initiating the offense, Steph cuts to the basket and on the baseline is ready to use the Jimmy Butler screen. Curry's a master of reading his defenders' positions in order to decide whether he should curl, pop out, backdoor, etc. And here he feels Castle is behind him chasing, allowing him to curl to the rim. The help defender in Harrison Barnes sees this opening and leaves his man in Butler to come double at the pass. And Steph's got a map in his head as to where his teammates are going to relocate. Jimmy runs to the strong side corner one pass away and knocks an open catch and shoot three down. Moses Moody has continued his remarkable play and making the right reads on offense. When Vassell gambles and fails to intercept this pass, he spins and attacks on the baseline in order to create an advantage. Fox comes over to rotate and Wemby is responsible for the dunker spot and weak side corner but slides to protect the rim. Moody chooses an open man in Draymond to kick it out to, and this is a classic example of Steph and Draymond's chemistry. Green knows that his defender Wemby is in the paint, so they run an automatic handoff action where Steph runs off the screen, catching Green's original defender in a drop coverage near the rim. Our old friend Harrison Barnes actually plays this pretty well, avoiding the foul from behind and forcing Steph into an awkward motion, trying to draw contact. But this is Steph Curry we're talking about, so of course he still makes a shot. It's good to see Al Horford finding his three-point shot a bit. He was crucial in stretching the floor and bringing Spurs defenders out of the paint. Pods runs a brush screen where he comes and gives a two-handed live push to the on-ball defender, but he does not actually set a pick. The goal is to confuse the defense as to whether they are switching or not, and Pods actually pushes Johnson just enough to give Steph Curry a strong right hand and straight line drive to the basket. Curry picks up his dribble and forces Kornet to come help as a natural big man. But this is why you stick out Horford right there. Easy kick out to the strong side corner one pass away, and Horford is finding his groove on offense. The Warriors could not hit the ocean in the first quarter, and I was shocked it was not a 20-point game. Steph and Horford run a spread pick and roll, where Castle's fighting over the pick and Kornet is in a high show. This pressures Steph away from shooting a jump shot and into the key, where he picks up the dribble and sees the weak side low man in Sohan, dropping in to potentially tag the roll man. Shout out Moses Moody for recognizing this coverage and moving up higher on the right wing. This gives Steph a much better angle for the kickout pass and a longer closeout for Sohan. Moses catches in rhythm and continues to heat up this season. An extremely overlooked skill, like I mentioned, is Steph's ability to read his defenders' positions and react accordingly to create advantages. As Buddy Hield cuts through, you can observe Castle sticking directly below Curry's body, ready to chase him around screens. Steph first creates space with a small push-off. Knowing Castle is trying to chase, he reads the off-balance footing and counters by cutting to the basket instead of curling for the handoff. Now he has a step on the defender, and with Castle keeping his hands up trying to not foul, Curry gets a scoop layup to go. Now let's run a handoff action to attack a center not named Wembanyama. Steph pushes off again to create some space from the defender, then runs a handoff with Horford who has the ball up top. As Curry comes off the pick, Castle loses his balance and gets left behind, while Kornet is in a high show but his feet are tangled here. Curry uses quickness and immediately blows by the big man, getting into his body to draw the contact for a tough and one on this hook shot. Steph also has been pretty underrated defensively his whole career, but is actually really solid when it comes to positional defense and reading the passing lanes. Shout out Draymond Green for doing an incredible job on that alien Wemby. Here he slides his feet well while using his strength to knock him off balance, then keeps his hands up to force the 7'6" guy from attempting a shot. As Johnson tries to go in for the rebound, Dre pressures Wemby into passing at the last minute, where Steph reads the pass to get a steal. Now, in a 4-on-3 advantage, Pod smartly decides to look for Steph on the fast break, where he can attack the closeout by De'Aaron Fox. I'm sure San Antonio would much rather run him off the three-point line, but Curry drains a one-dribble pull-up midi like practice. Steph had a vintage 20-point quarter in the third, as he finally saw an open corner three go down after missing several previous attempts, and that was all he needed. Here he runs a chase action with Jimmy Butler, in which he throws the ball first, then runs to get a handoff. With Butler's man in Barnes not worrying about his three-point shot, this was a fatal mistake as it allows Draymond to confuse the defense by setting the pick on him. Wemby, who is guarding Draymond, is not in the immediate first handoff action, therefore he is late getting out on Butler's screen. With Stephon Castle chasing over and Wemby realizing too late in the drop coverage, Steph comes off the pick to see daylight for a quick release 3, and he is starting to catch fire. With Golden State crawling back, it's a blessing to see Steph Curry be in the zone again. Curry points to the post for Horford to run a Warriors split action. This play works perfectly against defenses that do not switch off-ball screens. Pods comes to set the first pick, and when Champagne's sticking to Steph, De'Aaron Fox should have known better coming from the Mike Brown style of offense to immediately switch. I'm sure Curry was so surprised he was wide open, he took an extra half second to gather himself in the mid-range instead of the three-point line. He'll make these in his sleep. With just a 5-point lead and everyone focused on Curry, the Warriors needed role players to make shots off his gravity. Simple guard-to-guard on-ball screen, but for some reason, Kornet is guarding Podziemski. This is perfect to get the big man out on the perimeter, so Vassell tries to fight through the pick with Kornet in the high show. Podziemski makes a right play by popping out to the left wing and gets a wide open look to knock it down. This one needs no breakdown, but was more of a Spurs defensive miscommunication. On the weak side, you can see Wemby tell Fox to switch with him higher on the wing since he himself is a big man and should be manning the paint. I guess this was one of the only funny things about having a small-ass 3-guard lineup. You might just confuse the defense into who they're supposed to guard. Curry kicks it to the wide open Jimmy, who's been starting the year shooting like prime Klay Thompson. Golden State ended the game on a few key defensive plays too. Why don't we show Curry's ability to cover space off ball? On a high pick and roll, GP2 angles De'Aaron Fox to reject the screen and go towards his weak right hand where there is more help. Swing pass to Castle, who attacks off the catch, and the original roll man Kornet is running to the basket. The Spurs have a 2-on-1 advantage on the weak side, where Curry has to momentarily cover both players, but he reads his jump pass perfectly, knowing Castle would much rather kick it out to the corner 3 ball than Luke Kornet. Steph also sees that Draymond Green is helping on the rotation, so he retreats back just enough to pick the passing lane, and the game is starting to be closed out. There you guys have it. On the second night of a back-to-back and just a few days removed from battling an illness, Steph Curry delivered exactly the type of performance the Warriors needed. His 46 points, including 22 in the blistering third quarter, completely shifted the momentum and brought a level of stability the team has been missing. This was vintage Steph, relentless movement, sharp reads, timely back cuts, and the kind of off-ball gravity that instantly elevates everyone around him. His presence opened clean looks for Moody, Horford, Pods, and Will Richard, and you can feel the entire offense settle into rhythm once he took control of the game's pace. Nights like this are a reminder. Steph remains the foundation of everything the Warriors do. Even coming off an illness, he willed them to a much-needed win, and an impressive one as well, and restored a sense of confidence across the roster. Now onto a baseball version of a back-to-back again at the Spurs. So if you guys like this type of breakdowns, like and subscribe to see more.